Hello everybody, this is Scott from Planet X News. I wanted to go over some information and I wanted to give you another perspective on this shooting in Las Vegas. Now today is October 3rd, approximately 24 hours later, and already the media has completely changed the narrative, and we're basically seeing the complete setup of not necessarily a false flag, because I do believe wholeheartedly that people did lose their lives, people were shot, people were injured, people were killed. Now, since I was a child, I have been around guns, hunting rifles, handguns. As an adult, I was a firearm owner. When I lived in South Florida, at one point in time, I was an avid gun owner. At that point in time, I owned 13 firearms. I also owned 2 assault rifles, an AR-15 and a Thompson. And a Thompson is basically the gun that you used to see in the old gangster movies, the Tommy gun. It was remanufactured and placed on the market for sale, and I bought one. I had multiple handguns, and I would go to an indoor gun range at least 2 or 3 times a week. I have also taken tactical shooting courses. I'm very familiar with firearms. I am also very familiar with the sound of firearms. I have also fired automatic weapons in a controlled environment. After viewing a lot of video footage from the carnage in Las Vegas, I've come to one sole conclusion: that no shots were fired from the Mandalay Bay Hotel. The angle that these shots would have been fired from was just so acute and over 1,100 feet away. And from the 32nd floor of that hotel would have given a pretty steep downward trajectory, excuse me. So if you're going to think in a tactical way, you're going to have to start thinking outside of the box. So you want to draw all of the attention, naturally, to the Mandalay Bay Hotel. You want to set off smoke alarms on the 32nd floor, triggering police to go to that specific floor, possibly that specific room. And if you were firing a gun from that room, yes, you would have a lot of smoke. But ladies and gentlemen, what I've laid out here, and I've captured multiple photographs from Google Maps, and everything is pretty current. Now, I have visited each and every one of the hotels that you see in your picture right now. I was in the advertising industry for 22 years. I've done a lot of work in Las Vegas. I've been to the Mandalay, I've been to the Excalibur, I've been to the Tropicana. I know the layout and I know this area very, very well. If you were going to target an area, this is what it would look like. You have the Excalibur Hotel right here where my cursor is. Very easy access to the roof and a better viewpoint directly into this parking lot area, and this is where the stage was set up. This is where all of the people were, right within the red square. Now moving over to the Tropicana, the same would apply. Here's your viewpoint from the Tropicana. There's an access door on the roof to the Tropicana with a direct view straight into the killing field. And that's exactly what this is, folks. This was a killing field. Now, there are fuel tanks right here. These fuel tanks belong to an airport that sits back over here, lower left-hand corner. I'll show you photographs later on. But this is also a perfect viewpoint with easy access from the street, up the stairwell, on top of the tank, and there is your direct view. Now, listen, folks, getting back to the firearms. Using a small tactical, semi-automatic, or fully automatic weapon, these weapons are not made for long distance shooting. So therefore, shooting a fully automatic weapon from the 32nd floor of the Mandalay Hotel straight down into the concert would have been pretty tough. That's over 1,100 feet. The bullet will start to drop. These small tactical weapons, they use 38 caliber 9mm. So the bullet's going to start dropping rapidly as it progresses down towards its target. The same is going to apply if there was a shooter at the Excalibur Hotel on the roof, which would also be very, very easy access. Once again, the same would apply for the Tropicana Hotel. The point of view is a little bit better, directly into the concert. Now, folks, I'm going to go ahead and flip to the next picture. Now, this would be the perspective. Here's your airport right over here. Very, very easy access, ladies and gentlemen. I know this road. I know this area very, very well. There's a huge airstrip airport right here. Planes coming in constantly. There is direct access from this roadway directly to these fuel tanks, and as I'll show you, there are stairwells straight up right on top. There's your roadway, there's your access. You can move in, you can move out very, very quickly and probably not even be seen. Once again, you have the Tropicana roof, you have the Excalibur roof, and you have the Mandalay Hotel. All directly facing the concert killing field, and that's basically what it was. Here is an aerial shot of the runways and the airport, and this is McCarran International Airport. If you zoom in, we're going to see the two fuel containers right here. You're going to see the concert area here, the Mandalay, the Tropicana, the Excalibur and the Tropicana. Again, all of these areas, they all have direct access for a great viewpoint if you're going to be shooting downwards. Now, I'm going to go ahead and move to the next photo. Now, what I've done here is I've basically laid this out on multiple photographs that I've captured on Google Maps. Now, starting with the Mandalay Hotel in the upper left. Again, folks, This is going to be a very, very steep, acute angle. Okay, you're going to have the stage in your way. It's also very dark. I'm just not buying that these shots came from the Mandalay. A better viewpoint for this type of an assault would come from the fuel tank. You're going to put all your attention over here by yelling and screaming, it's coming from the Mandalay. Everyone's looking this way. You really can't tell where the firing is coming from because of the echoing, but I can tell you this much. There were multiple weapons of different calibers being used. You can clearly hear it in all of the videos. There's no doubt in my mind. Now, in order to injure over 500 people with gunshot wounds and to kill 60 people, it's going to take more than one shooter, folks. Not one man can do this. I mean, let's just think from a military perspective. If you were able to produce this type of carnage on the battlefield, that would be a big success. But folks, they don't even produce this type of carnage on a battlefield. They don't use small caliber, semi-automatic, or fully automatic tactical weapons. Tactical weapons, such what I heard in the videos, they're used for close quarters. That's what all SWAT teams, all police officers that have tactical weapons, that's what they're going to be using. These weapons shoot either a 38 caliber or a 9mm caliber bullet. That bullet would drop so drastically from an elevation such as the 32nd floor and a distance of 1,100 feet. The same would apply over here where the Excalibur is, upper right hand corner. Now, you could gain access to the roof. It would give you a perfect viewpoint straight down. A better viewpoint, I think, than the Mandalay. Also, you would not have to bust out windows. You would be directly on the roof. The same would apply over here at the Tropicana. Your viewpoint would be much better directly from the roof. Nobody would see you. Nobody would hear you. And your viewpoint again would be perfect. The same would apply. Now, I've drawn a circle in for the fuel tank because they're not in this photograph, but it's right here. Your viewpoint from the fuel tank is perfect. Absolutely perfect, and the distance is shorter. Now, those fuel tanks, they're about 100 feet high. So you would have a raised elevation, you would have a closer viewpoint, and again, ladies and gentlemen, using a small tactical weapon, you would definitely want to be closer, much closer than you would be coming from up here on the 32nd floor of the Mandalay Bay Hotel. And again, busting out the windows, and folks, these are the very, very thick panes of glass. They are able to be removed. Okay, they do remove these sheets of glass. They can be removed from the interior, but that's not what happened, folks. If you busted out two of these windows and all of that glass fell down, somebody would have heard that. Even if the firing started immediately, you would have heard both of those windows shattering. And also, getting 23 guns and all of that ammunition past security without nobody knowing anything and up into your room, and on top of that, maids going in and out of the room for 3 days. None of the maids saw anything unusual. So, it really makes you wonder what exactly was going on. I don't think the shooting came from the Mandalay Bay Hotel. Now, getting into this next photograph. The same thing as I was just talking about. Direct street access to the fuel tanks and quick access to the airport. In a tactical sense, you're going to want to escape. You're going to want to get out of this area immediately. And I don't mean just drive down the block. If this was a very well-planned operation, you would want to remove yourself completely from the whole entire state, the city. You want to get out. The fuel tanks have very easy access, folks. You come in right off the road. You can get into any of these areas. As you can see, it's pretty wide open. These fuel tanks have stairwells that lead right up to the top. With a fully automatic tactical weapon, your viewpoint is about 100 feet above. The distance is half the distance. So you're looking at approximately 400 to 500 feet instead of 1,100 feet. Now, would anybody be looking over this way if everyone was screaming about the Mandalay Hotel? No, they would not be looking over at this area because this area is probably very, very dark. Now, some would say, well, you would see the muzzle flash. Well, here is where you're wrong. Small tactical weapons that shoot the 9mm or a .38 caliber bullet, they usually have about a 30 round stick magazine. You could unload that magazine very rapidly. The bullets are going to be flying everywhere. Depending on your barrel length, and if you were going to do something like this, you would definitely have a suppressor, a very long flash suppressor on the end of this tactical weapon. That would give you better precision with your viewpoint and, well, actually, hitting your target. Some of these tactical weapons have very, very short barrels that are 3 or 4 inches long. They do come with multiple interchangeable barrels that screw right off of the weapon in a matter of seconds. You can install a much longer barrel, which would give you better accuracy and better long range. The fuel tanks is where I'd be looking. Because if you look at the killing field, the concert, if you were at this angle, about 100 feet in the air, you would have a perfect viewpoint and nobody would see you. You could position 2 shooters up there and basically you could take out a lot of people. Injuring 500 people, killing 60 would definitely take more than one man. That's my point of view. Now, here is a direct view of these 2 fuel tanks located right near the airport. As you can see, folks, there's very easy access right up the stairwells and directly on top. There's no lights anywhere that would illuminate you, and your viewpoint towards the concert field is straight right where this red arrow is. It's about 100 feet. The fuel tanks also have direct access to the street, as I pointed out, and you can simply remove yourself, walk down the steps as you are disassembling your weapon, placing it in a bag, and moving right on towards the left over here, and you could have a vehicle parked right there, and you are gone. Now, here is another viewpoint. We have the fuel tanks here. You see the access to the road. The roadway is wide open, folks. It's not very well lit up over here. Okay, it's pretty dark. This would be your viewpoint. You would have a perfect viewpoint towards the stage, towards the people in front of the stage, and then all of the surrounding people in the parking lot area. And there were more than 20,000 people there. So if you were using a small tactical weapon, firing into this crowd, and you know, you had the ammunition, yes, you could definitely injure 500 people, and you know, a lot of those people would probably die. And this is only about a 500, 600 feet distance, if that. There you go. There's your stairwells leading straight up to the top of the steps, your roadway for a quick getaway. You're gone. Now, the Tropicana, same thing. Now, getting onto the roof of the Tropicana, well, let's just face it, folks, it can be done. Here's your viewpoint. I think the Tropicana and the fuel tanks have a much better viewpoint than the Mandalay, which is way over here and up on the 32nd floor. Just not buying it. Now, if you were to shoot a fully automatic weapon from the roof of the Tropicana, you're definitely going to have to use something that you'd have to use something with a larger caliber bullet. The distance, again, is quite far. And fully automatic weapons, folks, you know, as soon as you fire the bullet from these distances, that bullet starts to drop drastically. Unless you're using a hunting rifle, 7mm, 308, 30-06, with a higher grain bullet. But I'm not buying it. Just not buying it. I can tell by the sound of the guns that they were smaller caliber, 38 or 9mm. In order to use those small tactical weapons in full automatic mode, you're definitely going to have to be closer. Definitely going to have to be closer. In order to, you know, injure 500 people and kill 60, you're going to have to be closer. And there's going to have to be more than one person. And that is a lot of ammunition. A lot. And after listening to all of the video, I can clearly hear multiple guns of different caliber, multiple models of tactical weapons. Let's move on to the next photograph. Now, here's a better aerial view from a different angle. Here's the shooter's point of view from the Mandalay. Over 1,100 feet, shooting downward. Here's the Excalibur Hotel, which has a better viewpoint of more of the crowd. Again, shooting downward. If there was someone here. Tropicana, same thing. From the roof, much better. But the fuel tanks, half the distance, only 100 feet off the ground. Easy access by the roadways, very dimly lit. This is where I would be keying in on. Because a lot of the people that were shot and killed We're right within this area. Not close to the stage. Right here. Right in the middle of the arrows. Let's go to the next photograph. Here's another angle. Over here, here's your shooter's viewpoint from the Mandalay. Again, 1,100 feet. Kind of at a weird angle. Now, here's the Excalibur Hotel, lower left. From the roof, wide open. From the Tropicana roof, wide open. From the fuel tank, wide open. So, you know, ladies and gentlemen, if you're going to tactically plan this out and you want to produce as much carnage as you possibly can, you're not going to want to increase your distance for firing fully automatic weapons. At the rate of fire, your accuracy is going to be horrible the further away you are. This is a fact. Just not my opinion. It's a fact. Here is a view from the Tropicana Hotel roof facing the concert venue. Here's your doorway. The door's already open. The door is open. Here, right where my cursor is, this would be your perfect perch. And if you follow the blue arrow outside of the picture, it takes you directly wide open at a horizontal view of the entire concert venue. Nobody would see you up here with a flash suppressor. Nobody would hear you. Nobody would see you. And you would have plenty of time to pick up all your shell casings, throw them in a bag, disassemble your weapon, and get into the stairwell. Make your way straight down. And folks, once again, looking over to the left-hand side over here, you're going to be leading yourself out to a parking lot and access right out onto the roadway. Here's another aerial view. I was just talking about the Tropicana right here. So why isn't anybody looking over here? Look at the direct access to the concert venue. The fuel tanks, again, direct access. The shooter, his viewpoint, again, I'm just not buying it. 32nd floor, over 1,100 feet with a fully automatic weapon. I'm just not buying it, folks. Just not buying it. Now, over here is the Excalibur. And again, there is a viewpoint from the Excalibur that leads directly, a viewpoint directly to this concert venue. Firing shots from here, firing shots from here. Now, when I was listening to a lot of the audio and watching a lot of the video, I can definitely hear multiple gunshots from different weapons. One of them sounds like it's a little bit further away, and it also sounds like it's a higher or larger caliber weapon. And it seems that it was in semi-automatic mode, which means you have to pull the trigger for each and every gunshot. But all of the rat-a-tat-tat, rat-a-tat-tat, that's a smaller caliber, fully automatic tactical weapon. That would probably be the weapon that would be used from the fuel tank, since the distance is not that far. If you use a higher caliber, 223, like an M16, AR-15, fully automatic. Even from the distance from the Mandalay Hotel, way up here in the left, shooting downward. When a 223 bullet starts to travel further than 500 feet, just like an AK-47, the bullet starts to tumble instead of spin. And it's going to start losing momentum and falling. So I'm just not buying the Mandalay Hotel as the source where these bullets were flying from. Just not buying it. Here is just another view. Here's your concert venue here, Mandalay here, Excalibur over here, and back to the lower right, the Tropicana. Again, the fuel tanks are right down here in the lower middle part of your screen, and that would have been the best opportunity to injure as many people as you possibly can. Not from the 32nd floor of the Mandalay Hotel leading all the way down. Just not buying it. Here's just another view. Now, this is another view from a different perspective. This is your shooter's view, as they say, from the Mandalay. Again, over 1,100 feet, shooting downward from, oh my, probably about 400 feet up in the air from the 32nd floor, downward. Now, I'm not sure if these bleachers were there during this concert. But you can see it's a very, very acute angle. But, once again, from the fuel tank over here, very, very easy access. The distance is much, much, much less. The height of the fuel tank, maybe 100 feet. That would elevate you over the crowd, and bingo. Now you have the whole entire field of view, 20,000 people, right there in front of you. This would be your best opportunity from the fuel tank. It's my opinion. Here's just another view from the back of the Mandalay, right about where my cursor is on the 32nd floor. As you can see, it's just a very weird angle, right past the stage. It's going to be kind of hard firing over in this way. The fuel tanks are right up here. Right up here where my cursor is. That gives you direct access to everybody. Your field of view is much, much better. Now, if you zoom in here, being perched right here, where people actually said that they saw flashes coming from about the 4th floor, 5th floor, 12th floor, wherever. But if you're going to be somewhere, you're going to want somewhere where you have a little bit of cover. Maybe even to perch your weapon. But if you look at the point of view of this area right here, from here to here, from here to here, you're at a much better distance, a much better angle, and you can definitely cause some serious damage from this viewpoint right there. Is it hard to get access up here? Well, I'm sure if you figure it out and it's well planned, you can get up there. No accountant, as they say this Stephen Pollock is. No accountant with no military background, no tactical shooting background is going to be able to pull this off. Just not buying it. Here's a direct view. Here would be the shooter's windows busted out here, or here. And they said he busted out a window on the side over here. Okay, so this would be your viewpoint. But if you look down right here where my cursor is, what a better viewpoint, this 90-degree angle. Right there. Perfect spot to mount your weapon. Perfect spot to have cover. And can you get there? Yes, you can. I just showed you. So there are multiple viewpoints. And if we zoom in here, I'll show you any of these viewpoints, anywhere here. There is actually an open cover on the roof. This vent cover is completely off. It's very, very big. Anybody can slip right up through there. There is access to the roof, folks. Maintenance guys go up there all the time for air conditioning repair. I mean, there is access to the roof. But again, your viewpoint from the Mandalay to the concert venue, it's just a very, very, very bad angle. Over here at the Excalibur, again, your viewpoint's much better. Much better. Look how wide open it is. A lot of these people were shot in the back. Which way would they be facing? Here's your stage. Everybody's facing the stage. There's your viewpoint. Right up here would be the fuel tanks. About 500-600 feet away. And only elevated at about 100 feet. So using a fully automatic weapon with a longer barrel, fully automatic, you would have a much better viewpoint of catching people. Oops, last picture. So that's what I've come up with, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just not buying the whole narrative story about this Stephen Pollock. All of a sudden, they find his vehicle with ammonium nitrate, fertilizer, explosives. They find 23 guns in his room. Ladies and gentlemen, let's be realistic here. Do you realize how many bullets it would take to fire from the distance of about 400 feet in the air, traveling 1,100 feet to the concert venue? Do you realize injuring 500 people, killing 60? Do you realize how many bullets would have been fired? So from that distance, if it was only one man, you would have probably had to shoot 3 times the amount of bullets to injure 500 people. So that means you would have had to shoot anywhere from 1,500 to 2,000 rounds, maybe even more. Because fully automatic weapons, folks, they're not that accurate. When you're holding down the trigger and the bullets are flying, you're going to have the barrel moving around quite a bit, and you're going to have bullets flying everywhere. So it's not going to be that accurate. I don't care how many guns they said they found in this man's room. I don't care how many rounds of ammunition they said that they found in this man's room. It's already been clarified that hotel maids had been in and out of this room for 3 days. Saw nothing unusual. So, where would you hide 2,000, 3,000 rounds of ammunition, 23 guns? Where would you hide all of this? I realize, hey, it might be a hotel suite. Some of these hotels have huge rooms. They're almost, they're like apartments. So again, I'm not buying these bullets were flying from the Mandalay. If any of them were, they weren't flying from the 32nd floor. They were flying from a lower perch, such as right here. And there are witnesses, a taxi cab driver. I have the video. She's driving by at about right here. And she hears and she sees the gunfire. It could be reflecting off the glass, or she could be witnessing the actual flash from the muzzle. I think I have the video. I believe this is it right here. All right, this is another video. Let's just watch and listen here. Okay, you could see right there. Now, you can see the flash. Now, I don't know if that is a reflection or what. I think this might, is this the video from the taxi cab driver? Let me try to find it. Or was this the taxi cab driver? Yes, this is the taxi cab driver here.
It seems like it's coming from up there. Oh, shit.
Let me go ahead and back this up.
It seems like it's coming from up there. Oh, shit. It seems like it's coming from up there. Oh, shit. It seems like it's coming from up there. Oh, shit.
So you see, folks, I mean, this is the area where this lady was driving her taxi. So, you know, at any of these viewpoints, from up here, over here, that gives you the access to fire straight into this venue. So she's driving right along here. And she sees the flash. And here's the gunfire from over here. But I don't think that any gunfire ever came from the 32nd floor. Now, this is just my point of view. You know, based on what I know from my own experiences with firearms. The weapon that you heard in the taxi cab video that I just showed you, that definitely sounds like a little bit of a higher caliber weapon. That sounded exactly like, you know, a fully modified AR-15, similar to an M16, what you're used to seeing the U.S. military carry. That sounded exactly like a fully automatic M16. Now, the M16 can come with a short barrel. It can also come with a long barrel. At that point right there, you would definitely want to have a longer barrel because you are shooting at a greater distance. And again, folks, these barrels are interchangeable. They screw on in a matter of seconds. I would definitely make sure that I had a flash suppressor on the weapon. You're shooting at night. You don't want to be seen. Folks, this whole thing stinks. This has all of the earmarkings of contractors. That's all I'm going to say. Contractors. And you know exactly who I'm talking about. And if you don't, well, I'm not going to say it in this video. But that's the bottom line. Stop looking at the Mandalay. The Mandalay was to draw your attention, to divert your attention, to form the narrative. They set this killing field up. This was very well planned. This was not planned by a retired accountant. I'm just not buying it. But ladies and gentlemen, that's just my point of view. I thought I'd put this together to give everyone a better perspective of what actually happened, how this could be planned. You're not going to shoot 500 people, one man. In order to shoot 500 people and injure them or kill them, you would definitely need at least 2,000 or 3,000 rounds. If you don't believe me, listen, think about it. If you know anything about fully automatic weapons and tactical weapons, you know damn well that from 1,100 feet away and at an elevation of approximately 400 feet, you're not going to do it. And carrying that amount of ammunition, well, that's going to be pretty heavy. Especially if they are larger caliber bullets, such as a 223 or a 308. Now, using smaller tactical weapons, 9mm 38 caliber, that's a different story. The bullets are half the size, much smaller, 30-shot sticks, and if you have, 20, 30 magazines, fully loaded, ready to go, okay, but that still does not give you thousands of rounds. So therefore, there had to be multiple shooters firing from different angles. Now, some of the doctors in the emergency rooms that have treated gunshot wounds before stated they've never seen anything like this before. And they were referring to the gunshot wound entry points. Remember what I told you in the beginning, folks. These tactical weapons, larger caliber, AK-47s, M16s, when the bullet gets further away from the barrel of the gun after it's shot, they start to tumble. AK-47s are notorious for impacting flat. Not the point first, flat. Tumbling through the air, not spinning. If you don't believe me, look it up. It's a very, very horrible scene. The scene is real, and I know they're probably using some crisis actors in the interviews, but the fact of the matter is, they set this up, and they injured 500 people. They killed 60 people. They set this accountant up. And then they probably took him out too. But folks, that's my point of view. This is what I've put together. This is what I feel. This is what I'm thinking. This is what I'm seeing. I'm not buying the narrative. And if you watch the news very carefully, you're going to see it continually change. Now, they're bringing information out about this man's father being in federal prison, breaking out of prison, being a bank robber, trying to run over a federal agent, da-da-da-da-da. Again, This guy has no military training, no tactical training whatsoever, but yet he was able to pull this off all by himself. Not buying it, folks. But again, that's Scott's point of view. Thank you for watching.